we have to reconcile that. And no, yeah, you do.
But if things continue going the way they are going, and nobody has a solution yet, then you're going to lose the wherewithal to be able to do what you're talking about, Russ.
I think before the redistribution of wealth has to be the redistribution or the reinforcement and building of morality and humanity, as you were saying. I don't care how much money is redistributed, it's not going to be effective if the morality and the humanity isn't behind it. And rather than, I certainly can't afford to redistribute my income because I'm already supporting my daughter and my grandchildren. So what I would say in kind of what you're saying is if I can't redistribute my wealth, I should at least redistribute my rage and do as you're doing and be politically active and give a voice to those people who can't. And to show the rage that I have for the situation that's occurring rather than sitting quietly in my apartment and watching it happen.
But you're not. See, this is what people have left their kids. The kids go out and go away, and they're not, and they haven't done things. Grandparents and everything went away to Sun City all alone, didn't take care of the. You have to have a restructure. I don't like to say bring it back to the old days, but family has to come back together. Extended family, the recognizing that you as a grandmother take care of your grandkids. You help your daughter survive, which a lot of people have left that.
Family.
And
sometimes, like for myself,
right.
Growing up on the street, I created my family.
That's the other. You do extended.
Well, you can't always go back.
No, you can't. No, but you can help extend family.
Right. But
there
is a belief that I've run up against in my situation, having been on the street and a young single mother, is that you get a cosigner for your car loan, you get help when you can't afford your rent from your parents. Some of us don't have that resource.
Right.
A lot of us don't. And
right.
I would say it's becoming more so that is the rare resource rather than the common resource. In my parents' generation, that would have been the common resource to go to, family, and then the church. It's not anymore. Churches can't even pay their electric bill.
That's right. No, that's exactly right. Yeah, the churches. Again, now you get back to what you were just talking about, building up the moral situation, where that came from, what those extensive problems that caused much of this does come from a situation where it's all about me. It's all about me attitude. It's all about gaining as much wealth as possible. It's not taking care of the other individual. It's not my business about what's going on in school when I'm watching 50% of the population drop out at the junior level and are going to be condemned to a life in the streets, no jobs. Oh, well, why do I care? My kids are all taken care of, well educated, stuff like that. It's that kind of stuff that's really, I think, brought us to where we are. There are no jobs anymore. There's no skilled people. We've pushed them all out of here. There's a lot of reasons. We're not producing as a country anymore. We're a buying country
on credit, looks like we've lost the ability to buy if we're going. We don't have credit, we
right.
don't have credit anymore.
You don't?
No. I mean, like on the simplest level, because of what's happening to the banks. The banks were granting mortgages to people who obviously could not afford to keep up with the mortgage. And they were doing that because the United States Congress mandated it.
I know it. That's what I mean. They made a law.
So now they would take that mortgage and they would sell it to Freddie Mac,
right,
who insured it. Now nobody can get insurance for loans. So the banks cannot. It used to be like falling off a log. If you didn't owe a lot of money, you could finance a car. You could get a mortgage. You can't finance a washing machine today because nobody will take a chance on granting the loan because they can't get it insured.
Mm-hmm. Student loans are going to be another. I think that'll be the next. What do I want to say? Problem that they acknowledge is the granting of student loans to students who can't afford. I mean, kids are coming out of school with great. They're a doctor, whatever. The jobs because of managed care. They're making less money. It takes a long time to get up to that level of where you're making a good income as a physician, especially if you have a family and you've got $1 million in student loans.
Right, that you can't,
that you can't pay on top of needing, unless
your child outrageous.
I've been taking since I left school the last time, I have had a $6,000 student loan, which I make minimum payments on, or I call them and I have to defer it. The amount has gone up. It hasn't gone down because I can't do. It's like I'll die with it.
Yeah.
And it hasn't done me any service to have gone, and gotten that.
I know.
I've actually lost money going to school. That wasn't the dream the government promised me.
Well, hopefully they keep trying to promise us new dreams, but it doesn't look like we're buying it. The stock market, everybody, it doesn't look like anybody's buying it anymore. I think what people are looking at...
Can you imagine if Bush had gotten his way last year? He wanted to tie Social Security into the stock market. Can you imagine if he had gotten his way? The AARP would have invaded the White House.
Well, we would be leading, wouldn't we? We would be helping leading the charge.
Oh,
but Cheney would have been in charge.
Right? Isn't that? It's a scary. It is a scary situation.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you put your faith? I mean, I guess I'm one of those crazy people. I believe that we can solve. I think people solve the problem. I think that across this country we have people who want to solve the problem. Will work at whatever they have to do. But nobody's saying sacrifice. None of them. I'm going to give you this. If you listen to this foolishness, nobody's. I heard McCain say once, "I'm going to freeze everything." Well, do you mean freeze it like it stays right where it is, and we're going to have to suffer through until we figure out a way to do this? But they're not. That's not what they're saying.
But don't you think if the government were to mandate towns and cities and states to provide housing or housing first program, if they mandated it, that the cities would have to find a way. They would find a way, instead of beautifying their city with plaques and banners, to create some kind of housing to meet that requirement.
Except that to go back to a couple of things that we talked about. We talked about already. In Massachusetts, for instance, there is a law. Mm-hmm. A homeless family, if they qualify, have got to be housed. That's the law. That's the law.
But the problem with the law...
But if you pass...
If they've got a prison record, or
But, even without
50,000 evictions, they don't qualify. So you just wiped out a...
Tambria, even with that granted, right? If you pass the first question on the ballot next Tuesday in Massachusetts, there's going to be no money to implement the law. You can't do it. The law be damned. You don't have the money to do what the law says you have to do.
Right. No, I think we could end. I think we could end homelessness here in New London, by using Crystal Ave as a good example. There's housing available that can be fixed up, and we could put people in those houses. There's a lot of houses that are empty. I think almost overnight, people will get mad and everything, and neighbors might, I'm going to move these people in here. Yeah. And we're going to let them fix up the place.
They're already living here.
And right. Instead of being in the bushes, right? They're already here, and then we're separating them and everything. I think you could end it almost overnight. The other thing is you can put. We got pre-release people coming out with no training and stuff like that. There's tons of stuff. Our infrastructure is falling apart. There are tons of things the government could move forward on and do things. I mean, they're spending. Iraq, they're spending tons of money over there in Afghanistan rebuilding them. Why aren't we rebuilding right here? Why aren't we rebuilding right here in this country? Our infrastructure is falling apart, which means you need skilled people, which means you need apprentices, which means you need training. I mean, there are plans, but the leadership doesn't seem to be. The leadership, it's like New London. It is offensive. The Democrats, you're going to get mad at me because I was a lifelong Democrat, right? Yeah. Both of us from Boston, right? Democrats have been in charge of this city for 50 years. They've run it into the toilet. This is a community on the Atlantic, one of the best places. It could be a great community, and they run it into a poverty-stricken community with a crap school system who nobody wants. Well,
And
some
urban
people
blight.
want.
Well, next January 20th, which is the national holiday in my mind, because,
Right.
Bush will be out of a job, and we could like